I used to be an awesome swimmer back when I was very, very young, back when I was a sperm. Kick some ass. I want to talk about my dad. I'm very proud of my dad. My dad was in the New Zealand Rugby League team in 1982, but that's as far as I've narrowed it down. So this one guy says to me, "Now you be sure to keep your hands off my daughter," and I say, "Fine, but it's your fault when she falls off during sex." I wrote letters to the cast of Desperate Housewives, and judging by their replies, they're not really all that desperate. You guys like my outfit? The shoes look almost as good on me as they did on the guy who used to own them. Can you believe someone didn't want these anymore? I can't believe how many pairs they throw away at that mosque. And when I'm getting changed for a comedy show, I always leave the curtains open, so I can give the girl next door a bit of a thrill and something for her to gossip about with her friends the next day at kindergarten. My mum still buys all my socks and underwear, although I haven't a clue what she does with them once she's bought them off me. My mum talks about sex with my friends. Does anyone here have a mum who talks about sex with their friends over the phone for £2 a minute? So I was at home the other day watching Two Hot Girls stripforme.com. I got a bit sick of that after 13 or 14 hours, so I decided to watch some boxing. Do we have any boxing fans in tonight? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a great boxer. I even thought of a nickname, Two Fists. But then one of the local sluts stole that nickname and gave it a whole new meaning. If my grandfather could see me now, I'd feel a lot less guilty about that darts accident. I got so bored this afternoon shopping for my fiancée, but I found a nice one from Thailand for 10 grand. Are there any girls in tonight? I once went up to a woman and said, "Excuse me, miss, would you be interested in having sexual intercourse with me?" She said, "I'd sooner go home and wank." I said, "Fine, let's do that." A lot of girls assume I'm a terrible lover just because I'm short, but actually there's a lot of other reasons too. I broke up with this cross-eyed chick because I thought she was seeing someone else. Thanks for clapping one woman. I wasn't sure whether this comedy business was the right business for me at first until after about my 5th gig, when as I was leaving the place I saw a woman waiting at the bar with a big gorgeous smile on her face. And as I walked home from her flat the following morning, I knew that I'd discovered my true calling in life: stalking. I got real depressed last night when I was writing that suicide note, but someone had to part one on that dead bitch. Who has ever put Monopoly money into the collection plate at church? I have, and they caught me at it, and this vicar dude comes up to me and says, "What the hell are you doing? This money isn't real." And I said, "Well, let's talk about this God of yours." Have been sort of seeing this one girl now for about 2 years, on and off. It's a Russian name. And I'm always telling her, "Calm down, babe. Why are you so mad, babe?" I call her babe because she looks like that pig from the movies. She always brings out the worst in me, which is a lot more fun than doing your own enemas. One time we did it doggy style for half an hour, 4 minutes in human time. I'm a bit scared of marriage. Is anyone here terrified of marriage? A guy I know says marriage is like beating off to the same page of a porno magazine every day for the rest of your life. And I thought that sounds bad and spookily similar to single life. So I moved over here from New Zealand last year. It was pretty scary. I didn't have any friends. Nobody knew who I was. That was why I left. My first job over here only paid £200 a week. That's not enough to live by. That's barely enough to live straight. I was recently being intimate with this 18-year-old and couldn't help thinking that when I was 18, she was still in junior school. And boy, she'd improved since then. A friend of mine once asked his stripper girlfriend to put on a bit of a show for me for my birthday, but I said no, she's a friend of mine too. It would be like watching my mum strip, which was always a horrible experience. Tell you a story now. How many of you have been to a place called London? How many of you have been to something called this London Eye? So I was there with this girl I was sort of seeing, there was this, bit of an accident, had to end the relationship when it ended a bit bloodily and messily. Let me tell you what happened. So we're sitting in the London Eye on one of those little pod things, and there's a sign on the pod that says, please don't jump up and down inside the pod. And she thought she'd try it on, she started jumping up and down inside the pod, and she wasn't exactly the lightest girl in the world, she wasn't exactly a size 16. So she was jumping up and down inside the pod and having a time of her life, and I start to look at her and I start to get a bit worried. And then people in the pods next to us start to notice, and they start to get a bit worried. And she doesn't care, she just keeps on jumping up and down. And then people on the ground start to notice, and the whole London Eye itself starts to shake and reverberate just a little bit. So everyone's looking at her, everyone's getting really worried. And I don't know how it happened, no one knows why it happened, but suddenly I stabbed her. Tell you about my awesome childhood. When I was 12, my parents split, but I got onto their trail pretty soon and tracked them down. Things started improving for me in high school. I even set a record in school discus competition. I got hit 28 times. And I remember my old athletics coach, I remember he was a grizzly old bastard. He used to say, do you know what separates the men from the boys? And I replied, the guy who can buy us the guest list at the Neverland Ranch. Clean things up a bit now. So I was in my car the other day doing donuts, and I've still got sugar on my balls. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I didn't say about Ed was Ed obviously been working over in New Zealand, but just come over this country and to try out, see how he's doing. And before you work at the Comedy Store for a full spot,